of Louisville.
That's the
This is
one.
Heyo.
the best time of the year. We get to talk football and we get to talk basketball all in the same week.
Right.
I can't think of anything I'd rather be doing. We got Roman Kelly, Alan Thomas, Roman and Alan. How are we doing today?
Feeling
Fantastic.
great. Excited to be
Yeah.
in here. Excited to be talking to my two favorite handsome fellas.
Thank
Right,
you.
right. And the other night we had technical difficulties, as did the football podcast, which just did a great job leading us in for an hour. And I wouldn't have rather had technical difficulties and lead into another day than a day like today. So, with the news we had. So, feeling good.
I'm thrilled about my working environment after seeing the football guys in the Hot Work studio. I've never been happier to be sitting in my kitchen getting to record
Right?
this podcast than after seeing producer Keith sweat off at least 10 pounds is what it looked like.
No kidding. So cold in here. So cold.
Yeah, so we got a lot to talk about today. I think top of the list has to be the addition that Louisville made for the
Mm-hmm.
class of 2026. We had talked about a potential G League player joining this team next year, but it was not the player that ended up signing. We ended up signing London Johnson, four-star recruit in the class of 2022. He seems to be all the talk in the college basketball world right now, even though he's not even the first G League player to back into college basketball. But after spending 3 years in the G League, London Johnson has maintained his eligibility somehow. Still not 100% clear on all of that, but has done the right things and has created a path to where he's able to go back into college. And now he will be joining the team in the winter. Will not be eligible to play this year, but will be expected to play at the start of 2026. Boys, what do we think about? I guess let's start with London Johnson as a player, and then we'll get into the controversy that is surrounding his commitment and other players' commitment.
Yeah,
Yeah, so go ahead.
go ahead,
You're
Alan.
good. Okay,
All
so
right.
yeah, I mean his tag you're it. Jinx, double jinx. I'll just go ahead and go. So just from and I'm gonna give a shout out to this dude, Alexander, the guy that makes all the Bill stuff. Like he makes a lot of dope clothing and stuff. He is actually doing like some kind of study on this particular thing on the G League route and eligibility and stuff like that. So I want to shout him out real quick because I stole this directly from his Twitter and I didn't know this. Did some background on it and he's correct. Um, like the whole reason this guy's even eligible in the first place is because he uh, his G League contract is not a two-way, right? And so like he didn't, and so like the team that he was playing on did not have his rights. Like he didn't go through all the way that process. And I think whether he knew that was the plan or not, like that's why he's eligible in the first place. But if we're talking about like the kind of player this kid is, think about just more of a versatile, kind of a Javon Hadley a little bit. Not saying he's on the level of Javon. Javon has a lot more experience. Javon is a cerebral player. It's been at the college level for this is his like fifth year or what have you. So just like this kid needs some more of those reps, team reps, but he can get in the lane. He's physical, has a nice little pivot. Like his mid range is nice. And he's a tough shot maker. That's one of the first things on his tape that jumps out at me is like all of the if you're going up against the trees down low, like he can do that. Like he will take it straight to you. So and I know his averages were down. Kid's 20 years old, right? I think he was the youngest person on his G League team or one of them. He was one of the two youngest. Played on a team with Jay Scrub, I believe, among others. So I'm as happy as I can be with something like that. And I think like everybody's going to be anticipating his first, production for us.
I love it. I think so. I'll start with like as a player specifically, and the first point I was going to make was one of the points that Alan just made himself, and it's the tough shot making point he made. One of the things that stood out to me in the tape that I've watched of Lyndon Johnson is his hang time, fellas. He
Yeah.
can get downhill, and when he elevates, he stays in the air for quite some time. And has those acrobatic tough finishes, can finish left hand, right hand. He also has some range in which he can kind of use the floater. Different angles with the floater. He's prone to making tough shots in the paint. And I think part of that is being a guy who tried to go take the LaMelo Ball route. He tried to go, okay, I'm good enough to go make money immediately as a
Mm-hmm.
pro rather than going to college and not making any money because I'm the, 46th best player in my class. I'm going to go over here. year overseas, try to make some money, then I'm going to go to the G League, maybe make it work out after a year. I believe in my potential. NBA team should see it, and I'm going to make it work. That hasn't necessarily been the case for him. But he can kind of do it all a little bit. He's kind of the combo guard type. He can be your primary ball handler and initiator if he needs to be, more so prone to being a scoring first kind of a player in that role, but has all of the ball handling abilities that you need. And then off the ball, seems to be a pretty high IQ player, can hit the three off the catch, can hit the three off the dribble as well. Has got the ability to catch, pump fake, one dribble, sidestep, three, like all that kind of stuff that you learn from playing with guys bigger and faster than you, right? Because you have to learn how to do that stuff. You have to learn how to get shots up in a quick little window of time.
Iron sharpens iron. Yeah,
exactly. The G League is pro basketball, and I think that part of him and his time in the G League, he spent some time overseas as well, is that he's gotten to play with bigger bodies. He's gotten to learn how to be an acrobatic finisher. He's gotten to learn how to do those little things that the average college basketball player maybe hasn't had enough reps with the talent better than them out there to go actually learn this kind of stuff. So I like what he is as a player. He's obviously still really young, got a lot to learn still. Sure. Why he's interested in coming back to the college basketball ranks and trying to make it re-happen. What it means for Louisville, though, in terms of what he is as a player, I don't think this is some guy that we're bringing in to be a go-to scorer. He's our best player. He's our Terrence Edwards Jr. in the half court, right? I don't think that that's what this is going to be. I think this is a kid you bring in. He gets to learn the system and practice with the guys you've currently got, get basically a whole year under his belt of just seeing how it all works. And then he gets to make it all happen on the court as a, kind of a role player who you hope can do it all. Not necessarily a Swiss Army knife, but you want him to go out there. You want him to be able to play off ball, on ball, make the right play hard defensively, and run up and down the court, which he can do. So I like it. It's interesting, though. It's different. Yeah. It's. I think there's something to do with, there's types of contracts that these players get in the league. And, the basic two-way contract, I think, immediately eliminates anybody who's has had a two-way contract from being able to do this, right? Those guys who have only ever played in the G League and didn't leave college to go to the G League is what it sounds like. And they've only had the certain type of contract that means they haven't played NBA reps yet, are the kind of players that have been able to do this kind of a thing. So it's going to continue to happen. It's the Santa Clara kid was the first, and we are not the first to do this. I don't think we were the second. Maybe we are officially the second, but there was other schools in line to try to make this happen before we officially announced it. So it's not like there was a chance we could have been the third or fourth or fifth, right? It was just the timing on this thing, as we're already seeing one of the names we were reaching out to, Abdullah Ahmed or Ahmed Abdullah. He limited his bottom three schools down to BYU, Houston, and Mississippi State. So, yeah, I mean, Jake, we're going to get into it here, that there's been some chatter on us making this decision, and I'm interested to see what happens next when this continues to happen.
Yeah. It seems very hypocritical. I give just a little bit of a take on Lennon Johnson. I watched a few games as well. A lot of people citing the numbers that he had this last season, but his first 2 years in the G League were with that G League Ignite team, which was half really high 4-star, 5-star recruits that wanted to go G League route instead of college, and then half just stud players that have been in the G League for 7-8 years, like John Jenkins or something like that. When he was on that G League Ignite team, he averaged more than 10 points, 5 assists a game. He was their starting point guard. He was the clear third or fourth option on that team. But he was playing behind guys like Ron Holland and Matas Buzelis and John Jenkins, guys that have played in the NBA or guys that are in the NBA right now. But Roman, I think like you said, from what I saw in the 3 games I watched of him, the best thing I can say, solid, above average in a lot of things. To me, no elite skill, a solid 3-point shooter, especially on the catch and shoot, a solid playmaker, a guy that you can trust with the ball in his hands, not overly athletic. I think he's a good defender.
Not too fast. Yeah.
So I just above average at a lot of different things. And I think we're not bringing him in to be Chucky Hepburn, Michael Brown. I think we're bringing him in to be next year's Kobe Rogers. That's the role that I see him fitting in. And I could be wrong. 3 years at the G League level and coming to college, he could look like a completely different player. He's taking a step back on the talent and the athleticism that he's got to play against. So I'm excited to see what he is, but I'm with you, Roman. I think that This is probably a depth add and likely not to be a lead guard in 2026. But I think the bigger thing, London Johnson, we've got plenty of time to talk about him, especially as we go into next year's offseason before we get to see him. But the buzz is how the college basketball world is reacting to this signing. The second signing of a G League player, Thierry Darian, did this with Santa Clara prior to us getting London Johnson. I didn't see a tweet. I'm sure that somebody said something, and I'm sure it helps that it was at Santa Clara and not a big name school. But Tom Izzo, Dan Hurley, Scott Drew, college basketball pundits are borderline crucifying Louisville, the NCAA, for doing this, for allowing a G League player, for us wanting to sign a G League player to our college basketball team. And I'll let you guys have the floor. To me, this is no different than signing a professional basketball player like Sonny Frew, who played 3 years in Germany, made money, and is now coming to college basketball. This is no different than any other team, all of the major teams that have foreign players, international players that have played pro for the last 3 or 4 years. It's just a different non-NBA league. But Alan, I'll start with you. Your reaction, do you think there's any validity to what Izzo, what Hurley, what Scott Drew are complaining about, or are they just mad that they didn't land a G League player?
Is there any validity? Fuck no. Because here's the thing, and let me get this out of the way first, right? For like the last 8 years, until like last year, and people still aren't accepting the fact that Louisville had a good year, like not for our expectations, but like, I mean, people, they may have just seen Louisville, like in the NCAA tournament and said, oh, okay, well, they're back. I mean, like on the lowest scale possible. Most of everybody is just kind of like, oh, okay, they might be doing something. We'll see what happens. But for like the past 8 years, Louisville has been, I guess, the pariah of college basketball because of the scandals and things like that and everything, all the cloud and stuff like that we've been under. And so like now I think like we're like climbing up and like sticking our head up like this and like pushing up this year. Last year maybe it was right here, pushing up this year, right? And we're like, all right, here we are, let's go. And then this happens and they're like, oh, Louisville did it again. And so I think that's, for one, that was the setup for me, where it was just like we've just become an easy target, right? Where everybody thought we were down like for a while. There were people that thought we would never come back from this. They thought the program would die, etc. But yeah, I mean, you talked about, so let's just get into I'm just going to touch on what the coaches said. Izzo, his whole thing was that it wasn't fair for the freshmen coming in. And we were talking to Presley before this went on. I think he made a great point about how it's kind of like lateral when you go to bring a transfer in than what we're doing here, because you're basically telling the freshman, like, I know your ceiling is high, but I'm getting this transfer here, right? And he's gonna, like, we're expecting him to do A, B, and C, right? So same thing, like Izzo has gone to other pro leagues to get a player, right? Scott Drew has gone to another. Scott Drew was another one that chimed in. Dan Hurley was another one that chimed in, just saying like 100 or like yep or a heart or whatever he did. I can't remember what it was, but just little things to let the world know that like, yep, I'm with him. And it's like, if Izzo said it, or if Boeheim was around, like in coaching, or if Pitino said it, these people, that's what, like, everyone that comes behind them is going to like jump on their side, right? And be like, yeah, the GOAT said it or whatever, right? So my thing is this, though. There was an article, and of course I dig this up, of course, because I'm petty like that, right? 2021, there was an article from the Associated Press where Dan Hurley was talking about NIL and how excited he was because it gave kids a chance to go to college and get an education, right? Over the other routes, which is maybe, G League or, like overseas or something like that, whatever, right? This kid chose to chase his dream, right? Izzo was talking about incoming 18-year-old kids, mostly 18 years old. So here we got London Johnson, and he's 21 years old, just turned 21, right? What did he do at age 21? What's the difference between 21 and 18 or 17 coming into college for the first time to try to get an education? Like, he's in that environment on a college campus, experience that, where he is somehow ineligible for your empathy, right? Like, how does that even make sense? Like, you have kids on your team that are 22, 23. Like, are they just like, are we separating where it's like, oh, this is like a grown man with tons of life experience at age 21, right? Or did maybe he made a mistake? He chased his dream. Maybe he made a mistake. But the one thing that he did do, London Johnson, was, and maybe, like I said, maybe he did it on purpose. Maybe it was by accident, freakishly. But he laid the groundwork because he didn't sign with an agent. He didn't sign it two-way, right? So in like whether he knew that was going to happen or not, but like, I mean, he did all that in the NIL era. So something with all of this, like he followed all the steps. And my thing is this: people are pissed off about something that Louisville did that is within the lines of the law and the rule of the NCAA. As stupid as some of those rules are, right? So like, where it's a fake outrage to me, and I think people are. Presley touched on this, where they're kind of like, they see Pat Kelsey getting cheeky and stuff like that and saying his little Kelseyisms and stuff. And I thought that was a really funny take that he had in the podcast 2 times ago. But like, I think the national landscape, maybe college basketball, is already sick and tired of his ass. And I think this was them being like, you know what, this is stupid. Overlooking, like you said, what Santa Clara did a week or 2 ago, or whenever that was. I don't know when it was because I didn't hear about it. Now the whole freaking college basketball world knows. Rob Douster said something. No shade. We like all these guys. I like Izzo. I like Hurley. I think he's hilarious. I love Scott Drew. Like this is awesome. But like, if you guys come up and put your little tweets out like that, you better expect the fan base that you're talking shit about, or talking shit about our coach, or maybe it wasn't directly about our coach, but he's in there. He's within the lines. We read between them. You better expect us to come for you. That's just like, I didn't mean to get all huffy and puffy about it, but that's my take, because I think this is all preposterous. Like, I mean, this kid's brand new to college, just like anybody else.
Roman, you were on mute.
He's
like my oldest coworker in a Zoom meeting.
Sorry about that. I'm right there with you, Alan. I am right there with you. I think I still can't pinpoint why Izzo would care that much when this is something that, and I'm going to address the point that he made. But first, I'm going to say this is something that impacts nobody in college basketball more than anything already going on in college basketball is already impacting in any way. And I know that kind of sounds like a bunch of random words, but what I'm saying is COVID years, 25-year-olds, 24-year-olds, 6 years, 7th year seniors playing, the only people this could impact is the incoming type of freshman when you look at people who aren't signing up for this, right? They have already been impacted very, very intensely here by the transfer portal rules, by the ability for kids to play longer than what has been the norm and to go wherever they want and go and do it. You can see it already before any of this has happened, how many kids in the 2026 class have committed already. Not a lot compared to where you normally see the numbers at this time of the year, right? None of them know where to go. None of them know who's going to give them enough money because none of them know what coaches are going to prioritize transfer portal players more than them, like they just did this year and they just did the year before. That is no different. It's no different than us going and get a Sananda Frew. No one was mad at that. Right. People said, is this going to work? You don't have any. That's a question mark kind of a player. People making fun of us for it. This is no different. We're getting a technically G League dropout. Like he wasn't good enough to feel confident in what a team was offering with a two-way deal, if he even got offered one. You know what I mean? That means he was not on path to actually playing in the NBA as it stands. That's no different than us going and grabbing some pro in a league who's never played in college basketball or declared for the draft, right? And I don't understand Tom Izzo saying this. It seems like it's coming from a place that is you can't be mad at us. We're just following the rules, right? And you're trying to make it seem like people making the decision to do this, there's a negative light upon anyone that's willing to do this or whatever. Like, it's part of the rules. Be mad at the NCAA. It's exactly why BYU's about to try to do it. It's exactly why Houston's about to try to do it. It's a wraparound for something, and Presley mentioned this. Like, this is the NCAA's fault fully that this has become something. No one likes it. I only want students to be able to play college sports because college sports, they're student athletes. You are grabbing a pro basketball player. Technically, he's in a league that is above the collegiate level and bringing him back down to the collegiate level. That shouldn't be a thing. We didn't make it a thing. We didn't even do it first, and we're not going to be the last to do it. So be mad at kids can come from overseas and play pro ball, right? I want to see the same anger at that if you're going to be mad at this, because it's absolutely no different at all. Mm-hmm. When talking about kids who didn't play college basketball and declare for the draft, right? So
keep the same energy, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you, Roman. I see it parallel as international players playing in the Bundesliga or playing in any other international professional league and making money and then coming to college basketball. This is no different. It just happens to be called the NBA G League, and I think that's where some people are getting upset. Doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. Coaches are getting so upset by this, but I don't think the scale of how many G League players are going to be playing in college basketball is not, as far as I'm aware, cannot be very wide, because the G League Ignite team no longer exists. They disbanded last year. Half of the players on that team were veterans, John Jenkins types players that have been in the NBA that are just trying to get back into it. The other half were young players, and then half of those 3-4 guys of those young players got drafted already to the NBA, like Matas Buzelis and Ron Holland, players like that. So the amount of players that are available in this pool got to be so small. Like, I can't imagine this happens maybe a handful of times. So it seems like a really, really odd thing to get upset about, especially like Roman said, if your point is that it's unfair to 17 and 18-year-old high school juniors and seniors. Well, everything the NCAA has done for the last 5 years, COVID years, Diego Pavia rules, JUCO rules, transfer portal, all that. It's all unfair. So it's weird that this is where you stake your flag down and you're like, this is unacceptable. How dare they?
Yeah.
So to me, this is a story that will blow over. I think it's big news because it's shocking to see a G League player having the opportunity to play in college. And I do agree it is kind of odd, but if it's allowable, I don't understand why people have gotten so upset about it. Any other thoughts on coaches getting their panties in a bunch, or what you saw in London Johnson, or what your expectations are for him for the season of 2026?
Well, if we're talking about expectations, I have no idea. I'm not going to. I think your Kobe Rogers thing, like he looks, like I said, like he has a good, a good way of being physical in the middle part of the floor, in the half court set. That's not something that I think moving forward we're going to do. I think we asked Chucky Hepburn to do that a lot at point guard, just to kind of like survey the floor and dribble down. I think that was a different team this year. The pace is going to be a lot quicker on the floor. So this guy's used to that kind of pace, and obviously the G League. I mean, they go up and down the floor anyway. But like in certain games, of the tape that I watched, at least, like he looked like he was composed enough to, he could slow down if he needed to. I don't think we're going to ask him to do that. But yeah, I mean, as far as expectations, I need to see what's around him next year, or like who is potentially coming back, if he's going to get any reps with guys that are currently on this roster. Like, I have no idea. I would just say that, like, I mean,
I think he is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you would think, right?
If he's coming early and redshirting, you should be able to come and practice with him.
Yeah, he'll get. I don't know the exact rules and all that, but it's kind of what. And this isn't a transition into Kansas, but it's kind of. I think it's kind of what Bryson Tiller did, or one of those players on Kansas. I have it written down somewhere, where he joined the team in the middle of the year. Maybe it wasn't Bryson Tiller, maybe somebody else, but and was able to get those reps, and then now is like emerged as like a projected like minute getter, not maybe a starter, but maybe a 6th or 7th guy. So it's all about reps at the end of the day, and familiarity.
Yep. Yeah, I'm excited. I think that it could show he could be a starter for us next year, but I think he'll be one of probably 3 to 4 guards that PK brings in next year. But Alan, as you were pushing us towards the Louisville Cardinals, take on the Kansas Jayhawks this week. What are we?
Mm-hmm.
2 days away? Is that right? 2 days away, right? Less than
Yeah.
48 hours away now.
The game will probably be over in 48 hours.
Yeah.
Yep.
And man, does it feel good to be able to preview a basketball game, even if it is a somewhat inconsequential game that we could win by 30 or lose by 30, and it will have no bearing on what this season is. But it is exciting to talk about Louisville Cardinals playing against the Kansas Jayhawks on Friday. We are going to start. I think the best thing is kind of give people expectations of this Kansas team because they do not look anything like they did last year. They lost 4 out of I think they lost all of their starting 5 actually, but their big players, they lost DeJuan Harris, that really skinny guard who could shoot, played great defense, lost Hunter Dickinson, the $5 million man, lost Rylan Griffin, and lost Zeke Mayo, the transfer from South Dakota State. So they were a solid team last year. Were they a 6 seed in the tournament last year? Does that sound right? I know they lost in the first round, but I want to say they were a 6 seed.
Did they lose to Arkansas? Who did they lose to?
That sounds right. 6
yes.
or 7, I believe.
Yes, I believe they did. Yeah, so they were an above average team last year, but definitely not to Kansas' standard. I'm looking at this roster. They made some additions, transfer portal, and they've got, to me, the best freshman in America on this team. We just lost Roman. Rest in peace.
Oh.
But Alan, when you see this roster before we go and break it down a little more in depth, are you worried? Are you like, damn, this Kansas is back? Kansas is back to what they've been the last 15 years? Or do you think this is more a middle-of-the-road Jayhawks team that we've seen the last couple of seasons?
Well, I think they're going to have to do a couple things differently this year without Hunter Dickinson. I don't think Hunter Dickinson necessarily lived up to the hype that we all thought he would, especially in Kansas fandom, what they expected. But one thing, like Bill Self, he's going to give whatever the is offensively, he's going to give offensively whatever the defense gives him. He's going to react. Like he last year they did a good job of going high-low with Hunter Dickinson. I broke down some film on Flory Badunga last night on Twitter, and just kind of like I think Flory's he is in place for a big step in his sophomore season. Mm-hmm. But basically, like you're not like Hunter Dickinson was kind of his enforcer, down low because you had those two dynamics. I don't think not that they didn't use them properly, but I don't think they had as good as shooting as they thought they were going to have last year. That is the one thing about this team that, if you want to say worries, is this team I think is a better shooting team than last season. And what are they, like preseason 17 or something like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're floating just in between 15-20.
I thought for sure they'd be, inside the 15 and not 15, if that makes sense. Like 13 or 12 even. I thought Louisville would be like 8th, honestly, or 9th. But, that's apples and oranges or whatever. But, like, you talk about El Marco Jackson and Darren Peterson up top. They're both combo guards. Like, they can both bring the floor up and be effective. And the guy that I'm really keeping an eye out on is Flory Badunga. I know he's got an extra year of an extra summer of working with a training specialist, a training coach at Kansas. So, I mean, like, there's going to be some development to watch with him. I'm just curious as to, it's still like big question marks that I'm excited for, like our bigs that I'm just our front court that's so deep, like Sananda Fru, Ali Khalifa, like Mo Kamara. How do they come out and respond to the physical presence, which I only think he's like 6'9" or something like that. I say only 6'9", but he's a broad guy. Like Flory Badunga is going to get what he wants. Pretty much dunks everything down there. Mm-hmm. So but as far as worries, like that's a good compliment for him is the shooting this year. I think is a lot better. Darren Peterson is an absolute sniper out there and shoots with confidence, a lot like Mike Hill does. Like they both kind of have this. They will shoot on the run. They will shoot in transition. You can tell it, like just if they're feeling themselves. And I think both coaches will give them the green light. It should be fun. Absolutely. It should be a fun game.
Roman, before
I
you
think,
cut out, I was just going to say we're expectations for this Kansas team. Do you think they're the Kansas team of old? Have they returned back to form, that top 10 team, or do you think they're the 5, 6, 7 seed that they have been?
I think they're still the 5, 6, 7 seed they have been. Maybe more so 4, 3, 4, 5. But I don't think this is a team that's going to be overall too scary. I think they're going to be hanging their hats out on the perimeter, right? They're going to have a lot of guard play. They're going to be relying on their guards to create a lot, which, guards do win in March. But I think at this point in college basketball, you still got to have the skilled wing play and or the skilled front court play. You got to have one of those things with your guard play, I think, to really elevate you. And I got, a few question marks, guys. You guys going to be relying on Trey White as a scorer?
They got Trey White.
If Trey White's your second option, which he shouldn't be, I think he'll be more of a third or fourth option. But
probably third, yeah. Because they got Jaden Dawson, that transfer from Loyola. Which I like him a lot. He actually might be my favorite player on that team. Like as far as like pound for pound, to watch.
Yeah,
fun to watch.
Their bigs they don't have a whole lot of experience within their size, right? I feel like all their big guys are all young, and that's typically question marks in learning, right? But this is also an exhibition game, so this is going to be Bill Self, Pat Kelsey going out there trying to find out what their best rotations are, who works best with who in a real in-game setting up against opposition, right? And I think probably gets like a really, really electric first minutes of this game, just in back and forthness. But outside of that, these coaches are going to be experimenting from there, not with their play styles, but with their rotations and who's out there playing. A lot of guys who are going to play 15, 20 minutes in this game that probably aren't going to play 15, 20 minutes in game one, at least not from the start, right? Until that potential lead comes. We're hoping we get one of those from the start. What is it, South Carolina or not? Who do we have first? Is it
SC
that
State?
very first game?
Isn't it?
SC State, yeah. SC State.
I think so.
That's right.
I don't know.
South Carolina State, the Bulldogs, yeah. But in this game, fellas, I just want to see us move the ball, get some good open looks, get clean looks, right? And, not get hurt. Nobody get hurt, but I want to see a good defensive energy effort level, right? I want to see if we can go out there and get some stops out on the perimeter with some really fast guards when we kind of, not really certain how our guard play is going to look on the defensive end outside of like Kobe Rogers and Adrian Woolley. From what we're hearing, we know that they're going to be able to shut shit down. But Isaac McNeely, Ryan Conwell, Michael Brown Jr., you guys are probably going to be spending a lot of time on the floor together. Can you guys all defend together, right? I want to see that. I want to see that jump from Kenai. I don't have a whole lot of expectations on the Kansas side of things and how we respond to them, just playing a high level of play. And not, if you go down 7, go down 8 quick, right? That's a coaching moment. I want to see Pat Kelsey in tune with these guys and teaching from the start, which that's what he wants to do this for. That's his whole priority, is trying to go out there and get better every single possession. So, you're going to see that, but I don't have too many high expectations on how it actually looks against Kansas. They're gonna have guards out there shooting a bunch of threes and trying to get downhill and get to the rim, right? Couple of freshmen, big guys that are probably going to come in, set some really big screens, and not do anything else offensively, I'd imagine. So we'll see how it looks.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this Kansas team will be interesting because, like you all said, they are guard heavy. The front court is very, very light. Outside of Flory Badunga, there's really not any experience. Even he only played 15, 20 minutes. He was a very clear reserve behind Hunter Dickinson last year. They've got Bryson Tiller, 6'11" center. They've got a freshman from France, Paul Mbia. I don't know how to say his name. He's never played a minute. And they've got a forward, Samis Calderon, a guy out of Atlanta, top 100 recruit, but not a guy you'd expect to see a lot of. So I think this game will be interesting because Kansas has good guards. Darren Peterson, Jaden Dawson, Melvin Council Jr., Marco Jackson, they've got good guards, so it'll be strength on strength. And I think this is also will be a really interesting time for us to see, is the front court a strength? I think we know the back court is a strength. Our guards are electric. We think that our front court could be really good, but I think this will be a game that will kind of allow us to see, hey, we think we have an advantage here. Can we take advantage of that? Because last year, James Scott, even if we had a front court mismatch, we weren't really truly able to take advantage of it. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see that. In the comments, we've got Anthony talking about, doesn't matter what the outcome is on Friday, this fan base is going to overreact. So I will say right now,
me too.
Friday night, 10 p.m., game is over. Louisville loses by 25, and we look like shit. we are not moving the ball well. Our front court does not take advantage, and Kansas's guards look better than us. Obviously you're going to have some reaction. Are you going to overreact, or are you going to sit there and think,
Yes.
well, Tennessee lost to Indiana last year, and then Tennessee was 5 times the team Indiana ended up being. What are you going to do if Louisville loses by 25 to Kansas on Friday?
I'm going to overreact, I guess. I'm going to react, and everybody I talk to is going to say it's a normal reaction because they'll be saying the same thing. Like, I think you have to, with the expectations the way they are, losing by 25, like that was the score you put out. If we lose by 25 points on Friday, no matter what, that is a huge kick in the balls, especially, given, all of the hype in the offseason, playing at home. We've been counting down days for like months now, literally. I've been seeing people post like, 90 days till tip off for like 88 days now. I think that like it's one of those like, and mind you, it's Pat Kelsey's second year and it's Bill Self. Okay, so I get that part of it. But when Kansas is supposed to be down, like these are all preseason projections. They're supposed to be down. We're supposed to be up this year, and we're Final Four contenders. I think if you lose by like 5 or something like that, there's a conversation there. I think if you lose by like 15, I'm like annoyed with that number, and I'm going to be pissed off about that until I see some real, like I'll convince myself eventually. I think if you come out and lose by 25, I'm going to point to that game. If we go and drop another stupid one, even, I'm going to be like, well, against Kansas, well, you saw him do this against Kansas. You know how the water cooler is. And if you're anything like me, like how the phone call with Granddad is, like, I mean, that's what we're going to – he's positive. He's the positive one. I'm the one that's like, it's over, like sell the team or whatever. But I think 25, like if you put that number, that's pretty that's eyebrow raising. And I don't think I'll listen to radio the next day, maybe the day after. I don't know.
Give it a week.
Yeah. I think if that happens, I personally am raising a big eyebrow at Pat Kelsey because, like you guys just said, not a lot of experience in the positions that can hurt you defensively, right? A lot of guard play, and they're going to be trying to figure out which guards work with who, meaning there shouldn't be a whole lot of cohesiveness and firepower coming right at you from this Kansas squad immediately outside of maybe Darren Peterson, right? Unless you're going out there dribbling the ball off your foot over and over and over and giving them easy baskets. What I will say, though, is if it looks like that, Pat Kelsey maybe isn't actually able to get guys on the same page as quick as possible like he says, I wouldn't personally think that could be possible because of what you hear the players say. I've never gotten this close with a group of guys, players that have been here for months, saying that this is the closest they've ever gotten with teammates. Like that's a sign that something that's happened in practice is working in terms of getting these guys to get on the same page. Now, maybe that's good, just team bonding. That's just good, making them like each other. That doesn't mean actually they know how to play with each other all the way. And practices in the summer going up against each other where you're not really, really hitting like you would in a game against opposition, you can't get the team fully how you want them to be yet. It's not in game. It's not real game stuff. But it shouldn't look like that. It should not look like that. And if it does, I think there's no way. I think there's absolutely no way. I think if it starts to go south and, we're down 13, 3-4 minutes later, we're down 16, right? At that point, he's going to start running sets. He's going to start getting serious. He's going to shorten those rotations up a bit. And he's going to find a way to get back into the game. I feel like Pat Kelsey prevents that. But if it does end up like that, hypothetically, that means I think Pat Kelsey probably did something, hasn't done something right in his, working with getting this team together.
Yep, I agree. That was just a thought experiment because everyone says you can't overreact. I think Alan's right. Overreactions, I will try my best not to, and I think we'll reserve it only if we lose by 20, 25, or win by 20, 25. Because if we come out and fucking whoop on Kansas and beat them by 30, I'm going to be the exact opposite way. I'm going to be going crazy.
Sure.
I'm going to be buying tickets. Yeah. Where's the Final Four this year? I'm buying tickets there. But I think, Alan, you're right. If it's a 10-point game, either way, reactions will be limited. But if it starts swinging 15 points, 20 points the other way, I think it will be interesting to see how people react. Going into this game, I want to start by talking about rotations. But first, who do we think starts this game for Louisville? And I assume with Kentucky being, I think, the third game of the season, we're likely going to put the official starting lineup in this game. We're not going to be messing with at least the starting. We'll see some different rotations since it's an exhibition, but we probably won't mess with the starting lineup, particularly since we have so many consequential games early on in the season. Who do you all expect to be the starting five come tip-off time?
Michael Brown Jr., Ryan Conwell,
Ryan Given,
Javon Hadley,
I think it might be Ali Khalifa. Might be. I think that if gun to my head, I'm going to say Frew, right? And I don't mean to do that on camera, but like if we could have a conversation where I could convince myself in about 30 seconds to a minute that it could be Ali Khalifa, just because of all the different dimensions, that he brings. Like who's going to be on these guys? Like who's going to be covering? Like Flory Badunga is probably going to be covering Ali Khalifa, at the 5 starting. Or Sananda Fruit too. And so like, can Ali, great vision, great court vision. He's a little bit taller than Flory. Can he expose him? Can we get some guys going back door? Have Bill Self call a timeout or something like that and really shake things up. Like that might be something you could do off the bench if Frew seems a little bit stiff, for lack of a better word. But my other thing is like Ali, like we talked about with London Johnson, like he's going to have all this familiarity. And I think that might be a calling card for Pat Kelsey is, I think people are going to be surprised and Presley would give me a big hug if he's listening. But like guys like Kobe Rogers, Ali Khalifa, like I think they're going to impress people with how fluid they are within the system out the gate.
Yeah.
Because they've had all the reps, right?
Yeah. I think that Kobe Rogers is going to look like he knows everything that's going out there like the back of his hand. He's going to be out there conducting. And I think really being an on-ball playmaker are a lot better than people are going to predict. But I think you're definitely got Michael and Ryan Conwell out there. I think you've definitely got Javon Hadley just because it's that's your vet, that's your experience right there.
Yes.
I'm with you, Matt or Alan. I think that it's probably going to be Sananda Frew. It was a little big X slip up there. I think it's probably going to be Sananda Frew as the dog's trying to play fetch here. And
which I'd be happy with.
Yeah, and I think Ali Khalifa, I think they're coming quick, right? I think also I wouldn't mind seeing Ali, even if Sananda Frew's probably your starter going forward in game 1, just because you're going to be seeing such quick substitutions anyway. Fellas, we remember this is a team that, Abubakar Traore started. Like, we got to be prepared for maybe something not like we're predicting. Cason Pryor came off the bench to start the season last year, I believe, right? Or maybe I'm maybe I'm wrong. In the exhibitions, I thought he did.
He accepted the role after a few games. He was doing that, yeah.
Or it was maybe after the exhibitions, I think, and then he started coming off the bench before he got hurt. But I think that the 3 spot is what's most confusing for me because, you've seen that, like, Isaac McNeely said the thing he said with the Jeff Goodman in the field of 68 guys. He's like, whether it's coming off the bench or doing this, I'm going to do whatever I can to try to make this team be successful and win games, right? I feel like that's like a sign a little bit that maybe he isn't actually going to be in the starting lineup. I think Isaac McNeely has to start, though. I think that point shooting, that sniper, put it on display for these fans immediately because this is going to be your best shooter this season, and I want to see what it looks like straight away. Now, that's just me personally. I don't think Isaac McNeely starts at the end of the season. That's not what you're asking us, but I think he does get the start for Kansas.
Yeah, go ahead, Al.
No, so go ahead.
No, I was going to say Anthony put in a lineup. He said Michael, Ryan Conwell, Isaac McNeely, Javon Hadley, Sonny Frew. I think that's a really common one. I think the only thing I would change, I'd say Michael at point guard, Ryan Conwell at the 2 or 3. Based on what we're hearing in practice, I wouldn't be shocked at all if Adrian Woolley is in this starting lineup. And I know he's kind
of been that, dude.
He's kind of been that 4th guard that we talk about. It's Michael, and then it's Ryan Conwell, and then it's McNeely, and then typically Woolley comes in there after that. But it would not shock me at all. This man is too talented. This man is too athletic. And if he's not starting, he's playing 25 minutes off the bench. Maybe not this game, but just as the season rolls on. My prediction is Michael, Adrian Woolley, Ryan Conwell, Javon Hadley, Sonny Frew.
Love it.
Another interesting thought that I'd like to go through. Do you have any lineups outside of the starting lineup that you want to see playing together in this exhibition? Maybe it's not a lineup that you think is conducive for regular season or postseason play, but it's just like really interesting that you want to see. Because to me, I've got one in my head right now. It's like an all offense lineup. It is Ali Khalifa at the center, surrounded by 4 shooters. So Michael McNeely, Ryan Conwell, and Adrian Woolley. You'd be extremely small. Woolley would be playing the 4 probably, or Ryan Conwell playing the 4. But like, I would just love to be able to see Ali Khalifa have all those shooters, and all those shooters be out there with him. 5 guys that can shoot, 5 guys that can pass, 5 guys that can create. I think that would be such a fun lineup to see, even if it was for 3 minutes.
Yeah, well, and I don't have this written down, but I had one called just between like myself and like a couple cousins, like called the Sicko lineup, and of course it consists of Michael at the 1, but it had Michael and Kobe at the 2, right? And this is Kobe's out there to kind of be like supportive in the supporting role for Michael, like defensively or what have you, but then it goes Javon Hadley, Vangelis Zugris, and Mo Kamara. And what you're doing there is essentially just putting tons of pressure. So, like, that could be a lineup that, like, you could even take Michael out. You could put Adrian Woolley. Actually, like, that would even be more sicko, in my opinion. I just put Michael out there because he's so versatile, and, like, that's just such a different look. The other players are kind of like, they do what they do, role-playing type thing outside of, like maybe Javon is kind of he's kind of a Swiss Army knife or what have you, but like that's kind of one that I don't know if they'll run with it. I'd love to see just like a super defensive lineup out there against one of these, because we have lots of games where people can score, and so like, how do you frustrate a defense except get up in them, right? Like, I mean, Adrian Woolley, Mo Kamara, if you watch his tape, like, he's just so unpredictable on the defensive end. Vangelis Zugris, everybody's been saying like he's the biggest surprise, in practice, him and Adrian Woolley. So yeah, I mean, whether you interchange Adrian Woolley at the 1 there, and run Kobe with him, or put Kobe at the 1, Adrian at the 2. I think that'll be such a fun lineup, even for like a 4-minute segment where you come off. That's when you come off the court and then you hear the Yum roar and they're clapping like this and like, come on, let's fucking go. Like one of those lineups. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? To get back on track.
I'm right there with you, Alan. I'm right there with you. I want to see a defensive lineup. This is one that I want to see out there against Kansas specifically. I want a Kobe Rogers, an Adrian Woolley, a Mo Kamara, a Kanai Roos, and a Zugris, right? Or if Fru really is maybe that rim protector shot blocker, it can be Fru instead of a Zugris. I want to see what Mo Kamara and Kanai Roos look like together on the defensive end out there on the wing. Like, you shouldn't be able to get into the paint against that lineup, in my opinion, right? I think that's just a really cool, like, that's a cutthroat defensive lineup. If Kanai remove the ball watching, Kanai was a great defender, right? I think, sometimes he kind of mistimed some things, but he wasn't actually a bad defender in my eyes. Now, he got caught ball watching. He's late on a closeout. Now his guy's blowing by him because he had to bite on the fake. Little things like that just were freshman tendencies. If he's worked that all out of his game, and what we're seeing in the Cardinal commitment videos and hearing about him in the weight room has carried over onto the court as well, he should be the best defender on the floor, right? I'd like to see that. Now, the other lineup I'd like to see, and this maybe isn't in the Kansas game just because I don't actually know what the current status is on Case and Pryor's 5-on-5. If he's allowed to be running at full 5-on-5. I think I think I'm hearing that we're seeing him in practice running up and down in the full scrimmages. So if we're seeing that, I'd like to think that we're going to see him against Kansas. And if we are, fellas, call me weird, call me crazy. I want a revival lineup. I want a Kobe Rogers, a Javon Hadley, a Kanai Roos, a Kason Pryor, and an Ali Khalifa. I want to see all the guys that were here, the only guys that were here last year, all out there in a lineup. I think that would be kind of cool. You got Javon Hadley at the 2 there. Guess what? He played the 2 a couple times last year. He had some moments out there where that had to happen. Yeah, so
he had to.
I think that's a senior day lineup right there for sure. You have to see that on senior day.
I would
the Faithful Five trademark.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The Faithful Five.
And
right there.
Cole Sherman.
I want to see the
Cole Faithful Six. Remember didn't Presley, like, in the last one, he was like, well, Cole Sherman. I'm like, Faithful Six. It's not as cool. Yeah. But anyway, those 5 on the floor could be the Faithful Five. It's whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, I think
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I love that idea. I think that's such a good idea, especially for senior night. Would be so fun to be able to honor those guys.
Mm-hmm.
My last lineup that I would like to see is like the all like versatility team, particularly on the defensive end. Kobe Rogers at point, Adrian Woolley at shooting guard, Javon Hadley at the three, I guess Mo Kamara at the four, and then Zugris at the five. And you're switching almost everything, unless Kobe gets matched up on like a 6'11" guy. You're switching everything. I think that would be very, very fun. That's probably our worst shooting team on the floor right there, with Zug and Mo Kamara and Kobe
A
Rogers.
healthy
But
Case and Pryor at that position.
yeah.
Throwing a fully healthy Case and Pryor at that 5 spot in that lineup right there. I love it.
Yeah, and it says Jameer Reed, I think is what that says. The font is small on my screen. He just asked, do you think Case and Pryor will play in this exhibition? I don't have any inside information. As far as I've seen, I would be shocked if he played. But I haven't heard anything. Alan Roman, have you heard anything on his status?
I don't think he will play.
So, yeah, I haven't heard anything. Like, I don't. If anybody was to hear anything between three of us, it would be one of you. But like, I don't know anything. Haven't heard anything. But I did listen to the coach's show a little bit last night. And one of the things that Pat Kelsey was talking about, he was asked about from the crowd. Somebody asked, because it's what we're curious about. Is that's my guy. Kaysen. Love his game. Love his ceiling. Everything about him. I hope he comes back as healthy as he was last season and does performs like that. But one of the questions was about him and his timeline and stuff like that. And Pat it was kind of one of those where Paul asked it, and then Pat was like, yeah, and then he was careful about how he worded it. He was like, he's coming along. Everything's going as planned. We hope to get him out there as soon as he possibly can. It's like just a coach speak. Like, he was on the spot, asked that, and he played it perfectly. So I don't think we'll see him there, and I'd be surprised if we saw him, in the first couple games.
You think we see him by Kentucky?
I think for sure by Kentucky, because that is one that he didn't get to play in last year, and I know he's had that kind of circled on his calendar, as like other guys have too. I know that like
he's made statements about it though. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Ali does too, because he wants to play. He wants to go up against Coach Pope. Not that he dislikes him or anything. There was I don't think, any bad blood or anything there. But there's mutual respect. But like, going up against your old coach, like you're gonna get up for that one, hopefully. So, but that was Kelsey's answer on that. Like, it was just kind of like ho hum, coach speak, like soon, whatever.
Yeah, and I like this as well from Jameer. I think I'm saying your name right. I can't see the font very well. He says that he thinks Kobe Rogers. Jammer. Yeah, is it Jammer? I think Jameer.
I don't know. It's Jamer.
What's the last name?
It's Jamer and then Reed. So Jameer. However you say your name. He said that he thinks Kobe Rogers.
It's like Jameer with one E.
Yeah, that's what was confusing me, because I've seen Jameer Nelson, but never that. Maybe it's James.
Probably Jameer.
But he thinks that Kobe Rogers is going to shock people at the exhibition. I think that's a great call. Okay. I could see. I mean, he's probably the least heralded player on this roster, just based on the hype and what everyone else has been talking about. If there is one guy that you all think shocks people, who is it?
Like, shocks people in the Kansas game?
Yeah, just in this exhibition.
Jumps off the screen.
Yeah, just like, wow, Kobe Rogers, he could start for any Power 5 team.
Vangelis Zugris.
Yeah.
Vangelis Zugris.
Psycho
yeah, Z. that wouldn't surprise me. Like that wouldn't surprise me, like now, like, because and I'll say the same thing about Adrian Woolley. Like, I think there have been so many takes out there, like, oh, this guy in the offseason, like, if you did, like, a month or two ago, if people had said, like, if no chatter about Adrian Woolley was out there, and like, I just trust my eyes with what I'm seeing and what I'm seeing on the draft boards and like watching the tape, like at Kennesaw and everything, you're like, what the fuck? Like, this dude is fucking awesome, like, and then you see him in Kansas, like, go off, like, you might be like, dude, I told you about this guy, hey, but like, we've heard a lot of chatter about Adrian Woolley, not as much about Zug. But like, you just, it's like you hear stories about him, lack of a better term, like he's kind of like the comparison of like when you hear about Achilles, like, from back in Greece or whatever, because he is Greek, so that's perfect. But just like, he's kind of like this mythical creature that Pat Kelsey's like, he has this primal scream when he gets an N1, and the Yum Center is going to love him and stuff like that. So, like, I think I wouldn't be me personally, I wouldn't be surprised if he had if he had a big game, like statistically, yes, I would. But if he had an impact at all, like where he like changed the game, that part wouldn't surprise me. But like on paper, for sure. The one for me would probably be and he's one that I've championed in the offseason, would probably be Mo Kamara. Like if he came out and had 8 points and like 7 rebounds in limited action, or 6 rebounds in limited action, like 3 blocks, I'd be like, holy shit, this guy like Malawach from Duke, you know what I mean? Like, is that how we can play him? Like, so, I mean, yeah, I think you go down the roster and say, just because of some of the chatter in the offseason, like this guy would surprise you, this guy. For me, like on paper, if somebody had a big statistical game, Zugers does make sense, absolutely. But for me, it would probably be Mo.
Gotcha. Roman, anyone else outside of Zug, or are you sticking with your man?
I mean, I think Mo, like if Mo had a crazy, like if Mo came out and hit 3 threes, I'd be like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know?
I know. Because he can,
If he like cleared out, crossed his man up, and just dunked it from the free throw line, I'd be like, oh, so Mo Kamara's going to the NBA as well. Yeah. That would surprise me.
Yeah, I think one thing that people have talked about a little bit, but since he's been here for now his second season but didn't get to play last year, is Ali Khalifa, particularly a skinny Ali Khalifa. He was so dynamic in limited minutes at BYU 2 years ago, the best passing big man I've seen at the college level in quite some time. You throw on the fact that he's lost 50, 60 pounds and he's added a lot of strength. Crazy. He's now going to have even more foot speed to be an even better playmaker, be able to get by his man even more and be able to play some defense as well, which was one of his issues when he was at BYU. I think that's a guy that could shock. I don't expect him to be the starter, and he probably still only plays 15, 20 minutes, but I think those 15 minutes when he's out there are going to be highlight after highlight after highlight, high post feed after high post feed. One other thing, Chops asked, why did they move the Kentucky basketball game? Do we know? I don't know a reason behind it. I know it was a decision made in the spring, like in March, I believe, is when Jody Demling posted about it being a real possibility that it was going to be early on in the season. I don't know what the reasoning behind it was. I kind of hate it. And it's on a Tuesday as well, so that also kind of makes it weird. Do you guys know anything about that?
Non-conference, I think it just non-conference scheduling and then availability for arena stuff was part of it.
Oh,
sorry, what game was it? Kentucky?
Yeah. It looks like Presley came in, commented, said TV obligations, arena availability, and then more conference games all played a factor in the decision to move it up so early into the offseason. And then he asked, did Louisville move the game to avoid JQ? Of course, yeah. We knew that Jaden Quaintance was signing with Kentucky 3 months later, and we knew that he was going to tear his ACL, even though it was 2 months prior to him tearing it. And so these are all PK is 3 steps ahead of you. You just can't catch up to the man.
We did not want to avoid JQ, though. We're not trying to avoid JQ. We want that smoke. He's not ducking smoke.
Well, all
he
of
wants
it.
to play the best possible Kentucky team. So
also, even if the game was at its regularly scheduled time in late November, I think that's when it typically is, or early December, he still wouldn't be playing.
Late December. Oh, yeah, I guess last year was early December. But usually it's like around the New Year.
Early December is probably like
because we lose.
Where Case and Pryor is right now, playing 5-on-5, but not ready for real game 5-on-5.
Yes, 100%. We are coming up on the hour mark, so we are about to get out of here. But before we get off, Presley's got to stop commenting in here. He said, step 1, tear JQ's ACL. Step 2, make him transfer to UK. Step 3, make ESPN schedule the game early. I mean, we know what we're doing. Before we get out of here.
It's all methodical.
Game predictions. Again, this is an exhibition. At the end of the day, this is all inconsequential. In 4 months, we are not going to remember winning or losing to Kansas. But what are your all's feelings?
Michael Brown has the most electric 12 points we've ever seen.
Okay. A 12-point outing from Michael.
Sign me up for that, because I see a lot of people saying, he's gonna average like 10 to 18, in the first stretch of games and whatever. Like, I don't necessarily need him to do that. I just need him to stay around double digits and get his assists. Like if he can do a double-double, man, it doesn't even have to be a double-double. I want him to be able to distribute the ball like I saw him distribute the ball in France over the summer. It's a beautiful thing. Now, mind you, to like future pros, AJ DeBance, other guys. So predictions, are we going score predictions, or are we going just like what's going to happen in the game?
Yes, score predictions. If you got a prediction for a player to do a certain thing or a certain thing to happen, you're welcome to predict that as well.
I will take that 12 points that Roman suggested gladly, and I will just move on to the score. I think we're projected to be one of the highest scoring teams in the country. I think it's not gonna be like 195 or anything like that, because like I told you, like at the beginning, or maybe it was the beginning or right before we went live, Bill Self's calling card at Kansas is giving what giving defensively what the offense gives him. And if he needs to slow the game down, he's going to, and he might have to. Just judging by the little snippets that we see on Twitter of this team running like their life depends on it. I'm going to go ahead and say that Louisville does eclipse 80, though. I'm going to go just like a corny 82-76, Cards by 6. That's what I'm going with.
Roman, for you, what are you thinking?
I think it's going to be like an 87-81 kind of score. I think both teams eventually kind of let off the gas defensively in the second half. At least for a little bit, some real running and gunning gets happening for a while, because it's a lot of guard play, fellas. We're going to have 3 guards out there for a lot of time. They're going to have 3 guards out there a lot of times. There's going to be some big misses, some long misses and long rebounds that lead to some fast transition play. When you're shooting a lot of threes, there's a lot of transitions. So I expect the scoring to have its moments where it's back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But ultimately, I think that I like our depth I like our defensive depth more than I like their defensive depth. And if everybody that's planning to be in the rotations for both of these two teams plays, we're going to have the better defenders out there. So that's kind of why I've got us winning here. And Pat Kelsey's going to put this offense on display immediately. So that's why I think it's up in that 80s range.
Yep. I see it. My just random guess, 88-71 to the Cards. I think Ryan Conwell is the leading scorer. I am extremely excited to see Michael Brown versus Darren Peterson. I think those are 2 of the most talented guards in college basketball, and we are lucky to get to see them match up against each other. All right, boys.
Yeah, it'll be real quick. It'll be Trey White versus Javon Hadley probably to start the game. That's going to be really interesting.
I like our odds there. I like our chances.
I just think that'd be fun. I think Trey White was a little bit better than people give him credit for, but they are just very kind of similar players in a way. I think Javon's more physical, but it's just some fun shit to look out for,
I think
that'll be interesting seeing them guard each other.
That will be. Does Trey White get booze when he comes to the Do we cheer him? I can't imagine we boo him. He didn't do anything wrong. Do we cheer him for coming back, or is it kind of agnostic?
He was the only bright spot, man. I think.
Yeah, we cheer him.
Him and Sky. But
I think we cheer him just because
I think he gets a good amount of claps.
He had to go through that. We watched him go through hell. You know what I mean? If I was there, I'd be like, all right, buddy, yeah, man. Good on you, And then, mind you, he went from here to Illinois. You know what I mean? He's been he's better. I don't know. He's
USC before here. Yeah.
He's made it from the depths of hell to playing for Bill Self. Hey man, hats off to him. Yeah, I would clap for him if I was going to be there. I'll be at my daughter's her team's football game. She is in marching band, so I'll be doing that. So it'll be that's great.
Roman, will you be at the game?
Yes.
He said,
I'll be at the game.
Yes.
Glad you got your Friday night figured out now.
Just thought about it.
I will not be at the game.
Maybe a bonfire after the game.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, hopefully it's a celebratory bonfire after Louisville wins by 15.
It is. It's a bowling bonfire thing, but I can't go bowling. I got to go watch Michael Brown. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I thought it was bowling and bonfire at the same time, and that seems like a dangerous combination. The bonfires and bowling alleys.
It's a little back and forth thing with the bonfires, the bowling's at the time of the game. So,
okay, fair. I'm glad you've got your priorities straight. Boys, that will do it for us. If everybody wants to follow us on Twitter at State of Louisville or at State of Lou, I believe is what it is. Starting 502 Podcast. Roman Kelly is at Romy Bean. Alan Thomas is at card_AL. And then I am at U of L Updates. Thank you guys so much for tuning in for the last hour. We greatly appreciate it. And we are so thrilled to have Louisville basketball back officially in less than 48 hours. Go Cards. Let's get out of here. And hopefully next time we talk to you, we're talking about